Kendra, and this is Hooked by Happenstance Makes Monday, episode number 30, Druthers. So, why would we pick the word druthers as a title for today? Well, I started looking for words, as I do sometimes, and then I found out the origin of druthers, and I just found it fascinating, so I thought I'd share with you. Do you know what druthers are? Now, I know that, like when you say you have your druthers about something, you have your thoughts or whatever, but that is actually what it means. Druthers is a noun, meaning one's... So druthers is a noun, meaning one's own way, choice, or preference, according to dictionary.com. And it came about in the 19th century, the early parts, as a contraction of I'd rather. My druthers are the things I would rather. So, yes, this week was all about making some choices about which things I would rather see come to completion and which things I would rather not worry about. So my druthers were all over me. And I only worked on the things that I had druthers about. So I actually took the time to take my On the Hook list, which had 15 items, and I took 5 of them and completely frogged them. There's a Freaker Frog video about that. I then split that list in 2 and took 5 things that I want to focus on working on this week and 5 that I'm in a back burner with the intent to finish, but I don't need to finish them like before I leave for California next week. So I have actually been making good progress about sticking to those things, which, as you may or may not know, is a little unlike me. I tend to make these commitments, and unless there is a actual pressing deadline, like I need them for a craft show or a birthday or holiday or something, then yeah, there's usually something that, you know, strikes my fancy in the meantime. But I've been doing all right this week with following through. Now, as you may... So, basically that means I took my On the Hook list and I cut it from 15 items down to 10. Well, in the process of cleaning up my shelves here, I discovered one more item that was not on the list. So that actually brings it up to 11, and then I have started a new project today, which means there are 12 things that were on my list at the beginning of the week. But I have some things to show you. So we'll just begin with the things that are off my hook, because that's a fun place to start. So, the first thing that I finished was my Lani Up Shawl that I showed you all last week. This is by Esther Sandruth, and I made it out of yarn that I had been yarn fairyed, mostly Cascade. The stuff is all wool of varying sorts. I'm not sure for sure that it's all Cascade, but it turned out nice. I'm happy with it. It does need to be blocked, and as it is getting warmer, I should be able to block it here soon. Today, I am only wearing one pair of pants in the house, and I'm really excited about it. They are sweatpants, but it's only one pair, so it's getting warmer. I don't want it to get like too warm, but a little warmer would be okay. So, Lani Up Shawl, off the hook. What I did after the last time I showed it to you is I had pulled out the granny section. I put in a little bit with a darker gray, did one row of the grannies with the light gray, and then I had actually this top section is like a purpley color, which I really, really like. And I had enough that I did a final edging out of that. So that's the Lani Up Shawl. The next thing that I worked on and finished, and I just powered my way through this like super quick. Peachwood assigned me stuff out of my gray and purple acrylic drawer, and I decided to make a virus shawl because I've never made one. So I decided I should, and here is the results. This is made out of Vanna's Choice in purple print. Then we have Big Twist Sincerely in charcoal, Red Heart Super Saver in lavender, and this is Windtuck, which is old school yarn, in the color Oxford. So these were all just things that were kind of hanging around, small pieces. This I had bought to make some stuff for sale a long time ago, and I just never used it. The charcoal color I bought to do accents on the pug I made at Christmas time. The lavender was just left over from, you know, I always have all the colors of things of Red Heart Super Saver. And then this Windtuck had actually been yarn fairied to me from somebody. So, the virus shawl's all done. I worked on it one full evening and like till I went to bed, and then the next day for just like, I just did the last like probably, I guess the last 2 rows the next morning, and then it was basically done, and I wove in all my ends immediately. Trying to get better about that, and now it's done, and I liked it. I feel, I mean, I guess I like this better than I like plain granny squares. I personally am not a fan of super, super simple things like that. Whereas lots of people, I think, enjoy grannies, or the virus shawl has a lot of similarities to doing a granny to me, in that it has a super simple setup row, and then it's just repetitive, and it's easy stitching, and it doesn't take a lot of thought, which is fine. But I don't get a lot out of doing that. I know that lots of people find that like very meditative and nice. It actually makes me very anxious, because part of the reason this went so fast is because I felt like it was so simple that it should go faster, and that since it was simple, I needed to be done with it so I could go do something more complicated. So, like, I felt this need to just do this. It gave me a little virus about the shawl that I just had to get it done. And not because I really wanted it or because I was super enjoying it, but because it just needed to happen. So, it happened. It's done. I don't know if I'll make another virus shawl, but at least I do know how quickly I can bust one out. So, if I have a present or something, maybe in the future, but it's not on my, like, oh, I really want to make this shawl again. Because I have several shawls that are on my, I would make this a lot of times. This is not one of them. The next thing that is off my hook this week is this here, which had started as a cotton baby mat a while back, as you'll remember, as a means to use up a lot of my peaches and cream stash that I had in varying colors. So I had made this rainbow mat. When I picked it up at the beginning of this week, I was like right here-ish, and I finished it off to here. And the interesting thing about it, and part of why it came into existence, is I had these 4 white clouds that I had already completed previously, and they had been in stash, and I found them during a Freak or Frog and decided to keep them and that I would do something with them. I was originally going to make dishcloth sets to go with them, which is something that I do sometimes. I will do a week of rainbow, and so I will do the 6 dishcloths, 1 in each rainbow color, and then a cloud cloth, and package them together. But I decided I wanted to try something different, so I sewed these clouds along the end, so you have like a rainbow with clouds, and the clouds stay down obviously when it's laying on the floor. And I think we're going to use it as either a mat in our bathroom this kind of end of winter time, or in front of our door in the kitchen. I haven't quite decided, but either place. It is only held singly, so it's not like a super thick rug, but that's fine, especially in our bathroom. It wouldn't be a big deal because it's a tile floor, so it's just that you need your feet to have something to catch some water if you get out of the tub. It's not that it really is an issue with getting the floor wet. So there's a good chance that's where this will end up, but it is done and all ends are woven in, and I'm very happy with it. I did a majority of this while sitting on a VKN, actually 2 VKNs, and that was a very good, it was a really nice mindless project for talking to people, because I didn't have to pay attention to the ends. This is all done in half double crochet, so it was even really obvious to me when I got to the end of my rows. I could tell that I was in the right stitch, which is great, and so there was like really no paying attention except to count that I had my 13 rows of each color, and one color, the blue, actually does not have a full 13 rows because I had like 3 different balls of like lightish, like robin's egg kind of blue, but they were all different brands and all different shades. So I picked the biggest one and I just used up all of what I had of that, and that way it would not look weird. So now this is off my hook. Then what is on my hook this week? The first thing is right here, and that is I have been working a bunch on my second Lodge sweater. This is out of Karen Jumbo in the colorway Dalmatian. Last time I showed it to you, I had completed this, which is one of the front sides. That is already done, and I have been working on the back, which is right here, and I discovered that I should not be trusted to talk to people while I am getting to the point of needing to do sleeve increases, because I've tried to do these sleeve increases I think 3 times and I keep messing them up because I get distracted. So I need to just like sit by myself and do the like 6 rows to put the increases in properly, and then I can do the back. Again, I keep mentioning this, it really bothers me that this colorway is called Dalmatian, because if somebody ordered something from me and said, hey Kendra, I would like that to be Dalmatian print, this is not what I would give them And I imagine if I did, they would be very unhappy with me because this does not look like a Dalmatian. It is, however, beautiful. But, like, you think they could come up with a better name, like monochrome or grayscale or something. Dalmatian? Not so much. But I am using the Lodge sweater pattern, which is a paid-for pattern through Annie's Crochet. And I'm using a K-hook, which is larger than called for in the pattern, because it got me the gauge that made me the happiest with the pattern. I have made this pattern before, so I know my feelings on their gauge and whether their gauge is going to amount to my size. So I made some changes with that. I've already put in a full ball, approximately this size, and I just added this one in like 2 rows ago. So we're going to go from there. The skein of yarn is kind of broken up into some balls because it had previously been in an Afghan. And when I put it in the Afghan, I had to cut some knots out, I think, is why it ended up in smaller chunks, even though, you know, the Karen Jumbo is pretty large. So that is on the hook and getting some love, and I'd like to get it done soon-ish because I'd like to wear it. The next thing on my hook is in my birthday bag, which is covered in dog fur because I had it sitting on the floor and Kuma fell asleep next to it. So here is the first of, I need to make 2 Afghans this summer because I have 2 nephews who are graduating from high school. And it happened that I started crocheting right before my oldest niece graduated from high school, and one of my first substantial projects was to make a sampler Afghan for her. And so it's become a thing that I'm making everybody an Afghan when they graduate from high school. So I made one for my second nephew, and then I have 2 nephews that are graduating this year. So I decided to make the Tides of Change by Frank O. Randall. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. I'm using a K-hook, and this is Red Heart Soft in 5 different colors. And the pattern is written for a 5-color gradient. So I am using, which colors? Black. And the next darkest one is navy. Then we have royal blue, charcoal, and the last one is light gray heather. And I did the trick when I was making sure that I had them in order, because I had kind of thought that I might do like one of the black tones, then one of the blue, black, blue, black, blue. But I took my camera on my phone and I took a picture of all of the skeins next to each other, and then I monochromed it. Turned it black and white, and I looked and I ordered them by darkest to lightest. And actually, like, 3 of the tones are super close in the picture, but I got them so that they looked the best in the picture. Even if it isn't what I would have necessarily chosen on site in person, but I feel like as I'm this far in that it's the right choice. I like how it's turning out. So this has been a couple of days work. Now this monstrosity back here is not going to be so fun. There's tons of ends because every time you change color, there's an end at the beginning and an end at the end. So there's going to be a lot of ends to weave in, but I think that the result is going to be super, super worth it. And like I said, the pattern's free. It's really well written. I've been really happy with it so far. The numbers are all right. It's really straightforward. It gives you a complicated look, but the stitches are really simple. And if you're not familiar, the only thing that's kind of strange that he uses is some extended half double crochet. And I think there's eventually some extended double crochet, which I know how to do. But if you don't, there is a link to YouTube videos that he has produced showing you how to do them. And extended stitches are super easy. They're a little more time consuming, so they're not always my favorite thing to do like a full like piece out of them, but for something like this where you're just doing it as part of a pattern, they're not a problem at all. And then the last thing that I was working on, which actually this is off my hook too now. And then the last thing that is off my hook is this project bag here. It was on my on the hook list, my physical one. This is made out of a pair of boxers that I had made for my husband when we were dating in high school. It was one of the first things that I ever sewed for him. One year for his birthday, I made him 3 pairs of boxers. And this one gave up the ghost. I mean, the other ones had already, but this is the last one that remained. The waistband finally just completely wore through, but the legs of the boxers were still in good repair, and I'm super attached to the fabric. So I made a project bag for myself, And then I just put this like pinkish tonal in, and then it actually has my my coloring book, and I have all of my, has my coloring book, and then in here, in one of my small bags, I have all my super tip markers. So this will go with me on the train to California. And it was funny because he came in here earlier today to get something completely different. He's like, hey, you made a chicken bag. And I said, do you know what that's from? He's like, those are my boxers. So anyways, that was just kind of a fun thing. And the reason it ended up on my on the hook list is because the fabric for it, like the boxers themselves, had been shoved in a bag with a project in my drawer when I did a Freaker Frog. So that's how they got included on the list, even though they're a sewing project. And that is everything that I have worked on this week. I got a lot done. I'm happy with the progress, and I imagine that it'll keep moving forward. I have some things, a lot of like sewing together and or sewing in ends of things that I'd like to get done this week, as well as obviously working on that Dalmatian sweater. And then the other couple sweaters I have going are basically going to come with me when I go to California, and I leave. I will talk to you again before I leave, but I leave next Tuesday. So I have a week to do things around here before I go on vacation. Hope that you all are having a lovely week. I put an update up on the Etsy shop this evening, so if you'd like to go over there, you can check it out at Hooked by Happenstance on Etsy, and also follow me on Instagram. That's where I put updates about things that I'm posting here and things in the Etsy shop, and occasionally my projects. I'm trying to be too redundant though, so I don't like post my projects every time I finish them, because I talk about them on the daily vlog, I talk about them here. It seems like it's a bit repetitive if I do it there too, but sometimes I do. You never know. You just never know. So check those things out, and I will see you all next time. Bye!